Chapter 9. The House Guests. As the doorbell's tone faded into silence, Harry, Susan, and the kids all stood frozen in anticipation and disbelief. Susan walked to her father. She reached out her hand and poked him in the shoulder. His physical body was real. "Daddy, is it really you?" she asked. "Yes, sweetheart, it's really your mother and me. Your sister could be waiting just outside as well. You might want to answer the door," he replied. Susan looked at Harry, and Harry turned to the kids. "Are you guys ready for this? Rose, honey, do you understand what's happening here?" he asked. "Sure. We live in a magical house that is bringing Mom and Dad back to me. What are you waiting for? Open the door," she replied. Harry hesitates and stops short of opening the door. He looks at Susan. "Can we talk privately for a second, Susan?" "Sure, Harry," she replied. "Do not open the front door. Just give us a second," Harry told the others. Harry and Susan walked towards the back of the house into the family room just past the kitchen. "This is frickin' unbelievable, but how do we handle this knowing that Rick killed Karen?" he asked. "Oh my God, that's right. But we don't know that he killed her for sure. She thought he would kill her, but we don't know that he actually did," Susan replied. "So we just pretend we never got the letter Karen wrote to you?" asked Harry. "Yes, I guess that's what we need to do for now," Susan replied. "Okay, but this is going to be very awkward," replied Harry. Harry and Susan returned to the front hallway. "What was that all about?" asked Caitlin. "Nothing. It was just something Harry and I needed to discuss," replied Susan. "Okay then, here goes," said Harry. Harry opens the front door and looks through the storm door window, but again the glass is fogged up and he cannot make out who is at the door. He pushes the storm door open and the couple on the stoop shouts, "Merry Christmas, Harry!" Harry can't believe his eyes, for it is not his departed brother and sister-in-law on the concrete step, but Harry's parents, Jacob and Elizabeth Hill. "What the fu—" "Yep, that's pretty much what I said too, son," replied his father, a very tall and thin man sporting a handlebar mustache. "Dad? I can't believe you still have that goofy-looking mustache," Harry asked. "Well, I was buried with it, Harry. It's pretty much with me for now on," replied his dad. "Oh, yeah, right," said Harry. "Harry, we have missed you so much over the last 10 years. Come, give your mother a big hug and a kiss," Elizabeth requested. Harry was a bit hesitant to fulfill her request because he had never hugged a ghost before. However, he slowly walked up to his mother and embraced her cautiously. "Wow, you feel just like you did when you were alive. I thought my arms might go right through you," said Harry. "Well, we are here with you in this house. We're as alive and physically present as you are, son," said his father. "So you can eat and drink and feel pain again?" Harry asked. I don't know about the pain part. Martha, will we be able to—" Before Jacob could complete his question, Martha gave him a pinch on his arm. "Ouch! Okay, I guess that answers that question," Jacob stated. "Yes, Jacob, you can feel pain. Let's wait for the others to show up and I'll explain in detail what you can expect over the next 24 hours, said Martha. "Others?" asked Susan. "Yes, Susan, you will have quite a few visitors this Christmas Eve. Everyone you have ever known who has passed on will most likely visit you tonight. They're not required to do so, but what soul would pass up the chance to spend a day amongst the living once again? Unless they committed murder or some other terrible offense, they would be here," Martha stated. "Murder?" Caitlin asked. Yes, Caitlin. When a human being takes life, and in some cases even their own, they're not allowed the privilege of returning to see their loved ones. They're being punished for their crimes, and until their sentence is fully satisfied, they're not allowed visitation rights, said Martha. I thought God forgave all people for their sins, said Caitlin. God also gave humankind 10 commandments to abide by while he provided for them on earth. If you break one of the commandments, you must make restitution either on earth or in the afterlife, said Martha. How do you make restitution while here on earth? Caitlin asked. By either correcting the wrong or doing things that will offset the offense if that is not possible. For example, let's say you were to steal an item from a drugstore, maybe a fake eyelash kit. How did you know about that? I just took them last week on a dare. I didn't even need the stupid kit, even though my eyelashes do look fantastic, don't you think? She asked. Yes, Caitlin, they are lovely, but it was wrong to steal them from the drugstore. You need to make restitution for your error in judgment, Martha replied and continued. Now you can go back to the drugstore and tell them what you did, offer to pay for the item, and insist on providing some volunteer service to the store for a while until all is forgiven. If you can get the store's representative to accept your apology and restitution, you will have a clean slate. Or you can do nothing, and then when you die, you will have to go to hell and have flames lick your body for eternity. It's really up to you, dearie, Martha said. Okay, I will go to the drugstore later this week, Caitlin professed anxiously. Is there a hell and a heaven, Martha? Asked Susan. Yes, but I was a little facetious with Caitlin. Sometimes that's the only way they'll take you seriously. Hell, for some people, is here on earth. As well, heaven, for some people, is also here on earth. It's quite the paradox, she replied. If heaven is here on earth for some people, then where do they go when they die? Asked Susan. It's different for everyone, Susan. What you consider to be your heaven, someone else might consider unfulfilling. For instance, you love dark chocolate, correct? Martha asked. Why, yes, I do. How did you know that? Susan asked. Susan, I'm a spirit. I see everything, and thus I know everything. This is not a magic show, and I'm not an illusionist. Just because you love dark chocolate and might think heaven would be able to eat as much as you would like, someone else who does not like dark chocolate might be very disappointed if that was their heaven, stated Martha. I get it. So heaven is where all of your dreams and desires come true. It's a state of mind, not an actual place, right? Susan asked. It's difficult to explain. It's quite similar to Earth. Wouldn't you agree, Jacob? She asked Harry's father. Yes, I suppose it's very much like Earth in some regards, yet very different in other ways, he replied. As the conversation about the characteristics of heaven and hell continued, the doorbell continued to ring. Martha said there would be many more guests, and she was absolutely correct. Each one was happy as could be and brought a tray of pastries or cookies to share. Uncles, aunts, and deceased friends from both sides of Harry and Susan's past were filling the house with merriment and song. But Karen and Rick were a no-show. The doorbell rang once more. I bet this is them. I'll get it, said Victor. Merry Christmas, Victor, he heard as he opened the door. Oh, my God, Merry Christmas, Doris. Please come in, he said as Lindsay's recently departed mother entered the home. Doris hugged Victor and kissed him on the cheek. She looked much better than the last time she had visited the home at Thanksgiving. Is Lindsay here yet? She asked. No, she was invited to spend Christmas with her aunt in Omaha. Oh, she'll be here. I just wasn't sure if I would get her before she arrived, Doris said. What do you mean she'll be here? She's driving to Omaha and is probably there by now, said Victor. Trust me, Victor. Lindsay will be spending Christmas with you just like the rest of us, Doris said as she walked away and over to hug Harry and Susan. Victor was concerned. He had been unable to reach Lindsay on her cell phone for several hours, and the roads were extremely snow-covered on the way to Omaha. He took out his phone and hit redial. Once again, his call went directly to voicemail. Caitlin noticed the concerned look on Victor's face. "What's the matter, Victor? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Oh, wait, you've seen like 50 of them," she said, trying to get a reaction from her older brother. "I'm very concerned about Lindsay. I still can't reach her by phone or text, and her mom just told me that Lindsay will be here soon. What exactly does that mean?" he asked. "That Lady Martha said spirits know everything. Maybe Doris knows Lindsay's already turned around and is on her way here," Caitlin theorized. "I don't think so. Doris asked me if Lindsay was here yet when she first came in. If she knew everything, she would have known that Lindsay was on her way to Omaha," Victor replied. "Maybe because she's such a new spirit she hasn't gotten her wings yet, like that angel in the black and white movies you watch every year. It's a Fabulous Life or something like that," Caitlin said. "It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart is the movie's name, and you'd learn a lot from it if you'd just watch it once," Victor stated. "I tried watching it a couple times. Boring. I fell asleep within the first hour," she replied. "You have to get through the setup. The movie's second half doesn't make any sense unless you make it through the first half. You give up on things too easy," Victor replied. "Me? You're the one that's giving up on Lindsay just because you haven't reached her cell phone. Have a little faith, bro. I'm sure she's fine," Caitlin said as she rubbed Victor's back and smiled. "I guess I'm overreacting a bit. I'm sure we'll hear from her soon," he replied.